How's it going, everybody? Clearly, this week we are not actually live. Unfortunately, I had a last-minute scheduling conflict for a meeting that I have to be part of within the company. So I still wanted to get a recorded session out here to kind of just chat, give you all an update, and kind of go from there. So the live chat is open. You can still leave comments, leave questions, things like that. What I might do is I might do another stream, an actual full-blown live stream tomorrow, Friday, so that we can still, have an opportunity to answer some questions and give, again, back to a normal schedule for these. So today I wanted to make a pretty quick run through here on my GH7 that I have attached. And do a couple of things. One, I've gotten a lot of questions about, well, how do I get ARRI LogC3 on the camera? So that's one of the things, and I'm going to show you the steps on, what you have to do to go through the menus to get it. The other is a bit more clarity on how to utilize things like Real Time LUT for what I'm using it for. We talked about it lightly. But I'm going to show you what I have set up for being able to take a base of something like either Vlog or a base of, in this case, ARRI LogC3, and then put one of those LUTs on top of it. So we're going to show you that as well. And then I've got one other piece that we're going to take a look at after we go through all of that. So yeah, let's kind of jump right into it. All right, so like I mentioned, there are a couple different ways that you can utilize the real-time LUT function, and one of those ways is how I've been using it for my main camera here on the live stream. I have the camera set as the ARRI LogC3 as the color profile, and then I'm using a different color profile as the LUT on top of that. But there's a couple ways that you can go about this. Now, since the GH7 supports LUMIX Lab, you can do this for Vlog, because you can take the LUMIX Lab app, you can download one of the Vlog LUTs, and then you can have it transfer over to the camera. However, if you're using any of the ARRI Log components at this time, you have to download and use their 709 conversion LUTs, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, and I'll link to that video below. So what you do to be able to have this burned in and use this as something where maybe you want to just have the output ready to go with it, maybe you're fully setting up your exposure ahead of time so you don't really need to worry about doing too much in post, is you're going to go into the camera's menu here, you're going to go to Photo Styles, and we're going to use the My Photo Style options here. Now, the My Photo Style options are the ones that allow you to make a ton of customization. And this is also where you are able to layer different LUTs on top of your base profile. So to start with, you have to go down into your photo style option, and you have to select which one you want here. So for this, I'm going to scroll to the left, and I'm going to select ARRI LogC3. Now, what I'm doing with ARRI LogC3 in this process is also relevant to Vlog, so it doesn't matter which one you're going to use. You can just apply this to either of them. And truthfully, you can do this for any of them, but we're concentrating on the log profiles. So right now I've got ARRI LogC3 selected. And then what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down. You'll see you'll have very limited controls for the general base image. So sharpness and noise reduction can be changed, but they're already based down at 0. But then if you keep going down, this is where you find the LUTs. Now, before we take a look at the LUTs, this is the part where you want to do a little bit of prep. So you want to be able to know what LUTs you want to have loading onto the camera. You want to be able to say, hey, I want to take the teal and orange look, which is the one that we're using right now. So what you're going to do is we're going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to show you which LUTs to do, actually take them, download them, put them on a card, and then be able to get them over onto the camera. So let's take a look at that now. Alright, so here we are. These are the LUTs that I have downloaded from ARRI's website. I'll have a link down in the description below. And what we're going to do is we're just going to open up this folder, We're going to go in, and then you're going to pick which of the cubes you want in. Now, you have to make sure that you've downloaded the correct one because you want to make sure that it is a .cube file. There are a few other options there on their website. You also want to make sure that you are downloading the LogC3 to Rec 709 versions, because there is also the log-to-log format, which is not really what you want to do if you're looking to do an output like we're doing for this. So here, I'm going to take the ones that we're using right now. I'm going to take the film, teal and orange, and I'll take both of these, and we're just going to copy these, and then we're going to take them and put them into the base folder of the memory card that I'm using. So we're just going to take this, we're just going to paste these here, and you see that you have them right there. So from there, we're going to eject that card, and then now we're going to take the memory card that we used. So I've got my CF Express card. We're going to put it back into my camera, load that in, give it a second, make sure that it reads the card, and then we're going to go into the menu. We're going to go down into the gear icon. Then we're going to go to LUT library. And you'll see here I've got 3 preset LUTs. These are the sample LUTs that you will find in the camera when you automatically just kind of turn it on. Now you have an option here. You can overwrite these. So in this case, I'm going to go to sample LUT 1. I'm going to do this. Click load, slot 1. And then I'm going to take the 3410 film, and we're going to load that one on. LUT complete. I'm going to go to the second one here, do load, card slot 1 again, and we'll do the 3411. And again, click yes. This loads that on. Now these 2 LUTs are loaded into the camera. Now if you're on a GH7, you're going to have 38 slots that you can load LUTs into, because ARRI or ARRI 709 takes up one of them, and VLog to 709 takes up second one. So you're down 2 because you have 2 separate log profiles to make sure that you've got a 709 for. So back to what we were doing. So now we're going to go back up to the film screen, and this works in the photo side as well. I'm going to go to that photo style. Again, we're going to make sure that the camera is still in ARRI LogC3. And then we're going to go to LUT 1, press the icon there. You can either tap on the screen for LUT select, or you can press the corresponding hard button that has the icon there. And now you'll see I can slide over. There's VLog 709, which we don't want to use because that's not the correct log conversion. You have ARRI 709, which is the 709 conversion from ARRI. But then we have the teal and orange film, and then you have a slightly different one here, the 3411. So I'm going to take the 3410, apply that onto there. Now below this is where you have a little bit of extra control. I can tune down how aggressive I want this LUT being applied through the opacity. So you've got some nice control to play with here. Now, once all of that is set and you've got your look ready to go, here is where you're going to press the display button. You're going to save current settings. And I want to save this as my photo style 1. But here you have an option to rename the photo style if you would like. We're going to skip renaming it for right now. And then just click yes, save this. Now my photo style 1 is saved as this particular look. Now if you wanted to change or add different my photo styles, you have a couple options. By default, you'll notice that the camera has, we'll get back up to the top here. By default, the camera has 4 unlocked. Then you go back into standard. If you need more than that, this is where you're going to go into the menu. You're going to go into the gear icon, and you're going to go to the photo style settings, show hide photo styles, and then as you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see my photo style 1, and then you can come in and toggle on 5 through 10. So this will give you up to 10 total custom looks that you can apply in the camera and have ready to go. It makes it pretty simple. This is also where if you find that there are certain color profiles that you're not using anymore, or you typically like to skip them, this is where you can come in and actually turn them off. So say, I don't really use monochrome S anymore. I don't use monochrome D. I'm really just sticking to the Leica monochrome profile now. I can remove those off of the list, so when I go through, I don't see them anymore. Say I'm not using L Classic Neo, so now those are not going to be there. But you also have an additional control in this particular menu here. So if you go to My Photo Style Settings, you can add effects. Now this is where I can add sensitivity as well as white balance. So this means that I can assign an independent sensitivity value or an independent white balance value based on a color profile. So if you're someone who, say, loved shooting with Fujifilm emulations, but you don't want to have to remember to go in and maybe adjust your white balance to be on a cooler side, you can go in and say, I want auto white balance cool to be applied in this My Photo Style when I select a Fujifilm, kind of LUT or look. I want to have that, but I know that I want to have a bit of a cooler look, and then the next one, maybe that's a Kodak base or a Kodak emulation, and you know that Kodak tends to be a little bit warmer in the colors, so then you can choose auto white balance warm. So this gives you a lot of control over how you want those specific looks, and that's kind of the whole point of Real Time LUT and the functionality that we have built in, is that you're able to truly customize the looks for your particular style of shooting. Does it mean that you're always going to use these particular looks for every single thing that you shoot? Of course not. There's going to be times where you're going to want to preserve the log footage, or you're going to be shooting in, say, RAW on the GH7, where you don't have the ability to bake in a look. But knowing that you have this in those situations where maybe you just want to live stream with it, maybe it's a real quick job for a client that you've had for quite some time, being able to just have a look ready to go that the client already likes and has approved with, especially if you know it's for social, makes it so much faster to just get from capture to delivery and minimize how much time you need to use in post to actually get it to where that customer wants it. All right, so now it's cool. We talked about LogC3 and I showed you what you can do with it. Well, how do you get it on your camera? So it's actually quite simple. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to pick up an SFU3A unlock code. This is to enable the function of ARRI LogC3 onto the camera, which, remember, is a designed profile by ARRI on our cameras for our sensors. So this is a proper ARRI LogC3 deployment on the GH7. So what you're going to do for that is you're going to go to the activation page once you have purchased the code and you've received it. You're going to go to the activation page, and now you're going to go to DMW SFU3A. You're going to click on this. This is where you're going to have the ability to activate the code for either your GH6 or your GH7. This has step-by-step walkthrough of what to do to get to the page. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a look on the camera. So you're going to go into the menu. You're going to go into the wrench icon. You're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you're going to look for an option that says Activate, which is going to be on the settings. So it's going to be wrench, gear icon, Activate. Click on Activate. And then you're going to click on Export Serial Code. Pick a card that you want to use for that. It doesn't matter which card. You can use either of them. It's going to tell you complete. Then you're going to take that code that was just generated there, that serial file. You're then going to bring it back to this page, which we have a link down in the description. And this is where you're going to take that serial code. You're going to add it into the choose file here. Once that code is added in, this is where the system is going to ask you to put in or type in the code that you've received to activate your ARRI LogC3. Once that is activated, it's going to generate an activate file, which is going to be active.lst. That file is then going to be taken and put right back into the same folder here. So you'll see private, PANA GRP, PAVC, LUMIX, active, and then you add the active.lst file here. Leave the serial.lst file in it. Once that's done, you're then going to go back into the GH7 here. You're going to navigate right back to the same page. So that's wrench, gear icon, active. And then you're going to go into import activation code, pick the card slot that you've added it in there. In this case, I don't have an activation code on here, but here it will say feature is activated, power off the camera. Once you power the camera off and turn it back on, you'll now have that file actually running on the camera. And the best way to check if you have, or if you're picking up a camera, whether or not it's got activated or not, or if you're renting a camera from someone and they tell you it's got it activated, is you go down into the same page, you go to activation list. You'll see here it says photo style ARRI LogC3 is activated. So that's how you activate it. Biggest things, remember, kind of key highlight points. Make sure that you pick up the SFU3A. That is the activation code for ARRI LogC3, and it's functional for the GH6 and the GH7. 2, you're going to go to the page that is linked out of the description for activating the SFU3A. 3, you're going to follow the instructions that I put on here on how to export the serial file, how to gain the activation file from the website, and where to load it back onto the camera. And then 4, make sure that you go back in, activate it through the steps that we provided, and you're good to go. Then you're ready to start capturing in ARRI LogC3 on the GH7 or the GH6. All right, so one little known setup here that I wanted to make sure that we cover here is some of the extra functionality that the XLR2 and the new audio interface system in the GH7, kind of what they offer you. That is different from the GH6 and even from the S5 II, 2X, and the G9 Mark II. So to start with here, I've got the XLR2 attached onto the GH7. Now, for those who don't know, this is what gives you the 32-bit float internal audio recording function. So we're going to go into the camera menu, and a couple things that you'll see here. You have sound rec level display. One, I always keep that on, but what's really cool is that you actually, if you click into it, you have the ability to change the size of it from large to small. So depending on how much of the screen real estate you want to have your levels being shown at, you've got some control there. Now, as long as you're in the MOV recording format or the ProRes format, you'll have the ability to come into sound rec quality, and now you can select the 96 kilohertz in 24-bit down to 48 kilohertz, but this is where you can select 48 and 96 kilohertz 32-bit float. Now, if you're going to be doing 2 channels of audio or 4 channels internally, you can do 32-bit float with it, but it changes what the sample rate is for it. So if I want to do 96 kilohertz, I'm going to be able to record on 2 channels for my ultra high res and my much more flexible audio format. So once I have that set, so say 96 kilohertz 32-bit, if I scroll down to the next page, this is where you'll see you have 4 channel audio recording. Now by default, this is set to off. What this means is that on the GH7, you can record audio the way that we used to have it set up in the previous gen cameras, which means as I'm recording, if I don't need 4 channel, I'm only going to have to deal with 2 channels in post. So when I bring it into my timeline, I'll only have 2 channels. But if I want 4 channel, I can come in here and select XLR plus camera, which means it's going to use the XLR mic, or it's going to use the internal mic or a 3.5 mil plugged into the camera. Or I can say I want to use 4 channels from the XLR. Now on the XLR option, it's going to be the 2 XLR inputs as well as the 1 3.5 millimeter input. If I select this, something that you'll notice is that when I go back up to sound rec quality, it automatically changes it to 48 kilohertz 32-bit. When I go in, you'll see that I don't have the 96 kilohertz option for the 4 channel. So just keep that aware. You still get 32-bit. You can still do 4 channels of audio recording with it, but it's going to be at 48 kilohertz. You also have the option here. So as I said, I've got 4 channel options on here. This is where you also come in and change your audio levels or your sound monitoring. If I want to monitor all of the channels together, if I want to isolate out 1 and 2, 3 and 4, or individual channels, this gives you some good options to kind of adjust how you want to, kind of monitor your audio. Now, instead of having to dive into the menus, the GH7 does still carry forward the audio interface menu. This is where you can press the button right on the camera, be able to see all of the different options that you have, your independent levels, so your levels for channel 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then as you change it, it'll change the icon as to where that audio is being pulled up from, as well as you have the ability to turn on and off that 4 channel recording. So lots of control, lots of functionality available on the GH7 when it comes to audio, when it comes to color profiles, really designed to make it where if you need something to be able to quickly just get an image and solid audio out of the camera, out to delivery, you're good to go. So thank you everybody for jumping on this recorded live stream. I know last week I had said that I was pretty confident we were going to be able to do an actual live stream today. Unfortunately, scheduling conflicts just kind of push things around on the calendar today. I'm going to try, I will post later today on the YouTube channel. I'll make a YouTube post as to whether or not we're going to be doing a live stream tomorrow. If not, it's just going to be back at regular Thursday, 2 p.m. next week. But yeah, if you liked this, if you liked the instructions that you got, leave a like, drop a comment down in the comment section if there's other topics you want to have covered. If there are things that you want us to chat about that we haven't chat about, let us know. I'm constantly trying to work on adding new, fresh kind of topics for everyone to talk about. And yeah, we will be live again next Thursday at 2 p.m. Little updated note here, for those of you interested in Frame.io and the interaction that we have within the LUMIX, some of the LUMIX cameras for its capabilities, make sure to check out Frame.io Live, the live streaming broadcast that Frame does. I'll drop a link down in the description below. I will be joining them next week for a discussion with Matrimony Films as well as Miguel, an editor, so that we can actually talk about, show, and have a conversation about Frame.io and what's so cool about the integrations that we have. So be sure to check that out. Again, that's next week. Links will be down in the description below. Yeah, other than that, thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. And yeah, see you next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time right here on YouTube. Later.